just to see what the ending of, I double dog dare you to read the end of this. Because you know what I found out? We win! The fight is fixed. I am more than a conqueror because Jesus the Christ came just in the nick of time, says Romans chapter 5, and he rescued me from the enemy within me. I don't even need somebody to mess my life up. I do a very good job all by myself. Am I by myself? This word, thank you for helping me on that one. I hate to be alone. Jesus came asking, who do men say that I am? He gets personal in this invitation from Romans 4 to Romans 5. He brings us from Matthew and says, who do you say that I am? Not what Max Lucado says, not what Francis Chan told you, not what you love about your greatest hero in the faith. What do you say? It's personal. Who do you say that I am? And there are those, also John the Baptist, maybe a prophet, Elijah, one of those who came before. No. Who do you say that I am? And with loving eyes, he looks at us. And when he asks us personally, what thus we might say, we must come up with a realization. This is not about grandma's faith. This is not about our youth leader's faith. This is not about the church pastor's faith. I've got to know him for myself. Because when you're wheeled into a hospital emergency room, back into surgery, guess who doesn't get to go with you? Your pastor can't go. Your mama can't go. Oh, they want to. Oh, Pookie, you're about to have surgery. But they got to stay out in the waiting room. It's going to be you solo. And with that image, when you leave this life, guess who won't be able to stand in the gap for you? All those who love you dearly now will have to be on side as you meet God for yourself. This is a rehearsal. You will need to know him now, because when we get to heaven, you got to really sing. This word lets me know that he looks with loving eyes. And then we must respond, truly, thou art the Christ, Son of God, who reigns supreme. Because I realize I love him because I recognize that on the rock he built the church. The rock statement, not Peter, but the rock statement that Jesus Christ is Lord. And the gates of Hades, I almost said hell, but this is the Baptist church, will not prevail against the gate that God has built for us. I realize because of the price of Adam's sin that he delivered my soul from a desperate disconnect into a delivered divine connection. And I recognize that disobedience caused God to come and then take care of business on earth. He had to deal with Adam's sin, and because he stepped in the place of those who are the sinful, we now have a right to the tree of life. The prophet spoke concerning him. He was one who died for all so that all could live for one. And the love that he provided redeems lost men with his blood. And by his blood I am washed, cleansed from the inside out. I love him because Christ announced, if I be lifted up from the earth, I'm going to draw everybody unto me, even those who feel ostracized, even those who feel like they stick out at this camp like a sore thumb, even those who are not considered the most likely to succeed. He came for you and for me, and that is phenomenal. Amen. I love him because I recognized that he pleased the Lord to be bruised, that he was wounded for my transgressions, bruised for my iniquity. The chastisement that brings me peace was upon him, and I get the healing from the stripes he took. It should have been me on the old rugged cross. But this morning, through Romans, I come to tell you, he decided to die instead of me. He could have come down from the cross. He could have called 10,000 angels to rescue him. But he would not come down from the cross where my sin was nailed to save himself. He decided to die that I would be saved. Amen. Save me. Can you believe that? Do you know what I've done in my life? No, we're not sure. Please tell us. No, I'm not going to tell you. But I know what I've done, and I know I don't deserve God's love, but he looked beyond all that I have done and all I can premeditatively come up with, and he says, I love you still, and I want a table for two with you and with me. And I want this to be a mano a mano affair, and I want you to know that in you, I've got the hope of glory deposited. I'm the treasure that will come in your earthen vessel to show the unsurpassing greatness is not from Mike Satterfield or any other in the building. It is from God and God alone. I want you justified. I want you sanctified. I want you free. And whom the Son has set free. Free indeed. Anybody believe that? Yeah. Tell your face. I'm free. Some of y'all don't look free. You look in bondage. This brother from another mother is free. And I'm going to let it be seen everywhere I go, over the hills and everywhere. Why don't you go? I'm telling it on the mountain that Jesus Christ is who he said he is. He's Lord. I got to give this to you. Because he was betrayed by Judas, and I was mad. When I discovered him at the chair, I realized I was a drug baby. I was drugged to church every Sunday. All day, but I was on the outside looking in. Any church babies? And then God met me in my comfortable, familiar, church-going experience. And he said, I'm going to show you something that eyes haven't seen, ears haven't heard, and it hadn't entered into the thoughts of man, what shall be for them I love. And he rescued me from perishing to hellfire and brimstone. And when I read that he was plotted against by chief priests, I was mad. When I read that Judas had betrayed him, one of his own, I was enraged. When I saw that Caiaphas and the Sanhedrin came against him, spat on him, I was ticked. When I saw that he was nailed to the cross and that Pilate and those Roman soldiers helped in the crucifixion, I was beside myself until I saw I held the hammer. Wow. Why would they do that to you, Jesus? You were perfect. No sin had you sinned except taking my stuff. And then I looked and I had the nails and the hammer in my hand. Today you need to understand that while you yet sin, Christ paid it all. Not a smidgen. It wasn't a tie-dye. It wasn't like you're almost pregnant. Adults, no, yeah. Ain't no such thing. You either is or you ain't. That's not good English, but that's where I come from. You can't be almost saved. You're either hot or you're on the other side of the fence, cold. God doesn't want you in the middle speculating about Romans. He wants you to fall madly, head over heels in love with him. And I get the privilege because he met me in a chair to declare him wonderful counselor, mighty God, Prince of Peace, everlasting Father, bridge over troubled waters, first and last, my beginning, my end, the air that I breathe, who touches me with the finger of pity, allows me to see a day that wasn't even promised. He gives me today a do-over to correct my errors from yesterday. Yes, I still mess up, but my privilege becomes the opportunity to tell a dying world that one died already, and that one who died comes that we may have not just life, but life more abundantly. Shout amen. Amen. On a plane coming here, I sat next to April Plage, and April said, I hope you're funny. And I said, I'm the most boring man on the planet. But welcome to row 7, seat B. And she said, you know, I just went on Match.com and I found me a caramel wonder. I said, really now? She said, yes, and I've been gallivanting. We had a rendezvous, and oh my God, it was, what do you do? I said, this is the day you have chosen the right seat, because I am a preacher of the gospel of Jesus. And she rung the bell. Ding. Can I move seats over here? Stuck. Because then I went on to tell her I'm in love with a man. Hours of conversation followed that, because it's not this, it's all of this. His name is Jesus, the Christ. And I love him because he demonstrated his love for me, dying the death I should have died. His demonstration was that which set apart my angry heart and caused me to have a love affair where no surgeon's scalpel can go. He reached inside where I was wounded and made the massaging heart transplant that gives me now life, liberty, and the pursuit of joy, not happiness. And this joy that I have, the world didn't give it, but the lover of my soul gave it, and the world can't take it away. Not this joy. In the midst of my love affair, I recognize that he is the Word made flesh who dwells among us. I want you to devour Romans. I want you in your small group time to pick it apart. I want you to be able to see that his demonstrative action was not words, it was steps to the cross. He loved us to death. And that's great news. He was beaten within inches of his life. Anybody? What's so powerful about his love is that it's unfailing. And in the midst of this time, let me just pull the plane into the runway. In the midst of this time, so much more I could say about this truth. I want you to understand, it's not good news until you receive it. Everything else you hear in negativism, God says, I got positivism, and I want it pulsating through your veins. This is not a borrowed faith, it's a personal faith. And when you let go and let God have his way, you begin to recognize something about him. That he was the wounded lamb, the Ancient of Days, the great I am, who came that we would be saved. The balm of Gilead. He solves all of our inward struggle. He is the one who's personal cornerstone. And as personal cornerstone, he's God in the flesh, now seated on the throne. At the right side of the Father, he's Jehovah Shalom, because he's my peace. And this is the God who's Jehovah Jireh, because he provides everything for me. He is who soothes my doubts and calms my fears. He's sovereign God, and he's the healer who's near. Don't you want him in your life? I heard about this little company, and this company declared themselves as a company that never had any kind of repair to make to their vehicles. And so in the midst of the company pledge, they said, never will you have a problem with our car. One man had a big struggle with his vehicle, and they went where he was in Paris, France, and made repair to the vehicle. They left his side, and in the midst of them leaving, he wanted to know where his bill was. And so the man called the company. Now, how many in the room, if they didn't charge you, would never pursue where is the bill? Yeah, this guy had integrity, unlike you heathens that raise your hand. And so he went on and made the call. And in the midst of him making the call, it's a Rolls Royce kind of deal, you see. Never any failure in the mechanism of the Rolls Royce. So this guy had one, and when he called the company, he said, hey, no one billed me. And you know what they told him? We have no record of a breakdown. No, my car was broken. Y'all came, you sent a service team, y'all fixed the vehicle. Where's the bill? No, sir, nowhere in our records does it say you ever had a problem with your car. Today is a Rolls Royce kind of day. Because in being justified,